whole week that has been, I think, has been down. Been down. A lot of people have been down with the the way that interest rates and other things have been around and been talked about and tossed around, as well as a lot of the things like the is it monkeypox and what else is going around that's giving fear to people when fear is dividing a lot of the people that's out there, and a lot of the people need to stop listening to media. A lot of the things on the news is the same. Have you all realized that it's all the same? It's all there to divide a lot of the people. It's make if everyone is in fear, where does that put all of us? It stops us from doing anything. It stifles the economy, because a lot of people are now worried about their well-being when there's not much to really worry about unless you're really at an age where you can catch something and you could die from anything. That's if you if you've had plenty of different diseases or haven't really looked after your health, and you've got heart conditions or any other conditions, you're taking medications, any of that sort, is you should stay home because you have not looked after yourself. If you have not looked after yourself, then that part's on you, and the rest is now put in fear. And the people who are healthy would get through this. Because in the end, in history of mankind, what's really happened is the people who are weak are taken out. It's scientific in that sense. In scientific sense, it's taking out all the weak links, and that's what's currently happening. Who is strong enough to get past these things? Who has the mental capacity? And of course, you will get sick. And I have been sick. I have been told that if I take a lot of these shots, I'm going to be immune, or I may not get it as hard as anyone else, or as harsh as anyone else. When in fact, I actually got it for I was down for 5 days thinking I was going to die, and that's enough to fear and put fear in people's minds, hearts, souls. Fear is what's currently happening, and fear is being projected to so many people out there. And then the
It's
next part of
constantly out
fear,
there. G'day, Vic.
hey Vic, the next part of fear is getting everyone to not do anything. So the thought at the moment, the sentiments of people are not to move forward because people are fearing. People are fearing that the whole economy might break down. It's going to break down. It will break down. It's going to have to break down. It's going to have to shake everything up. But
Didn't know this
there's an
conversation
upside
was
to that.
coming through, but this is what it's all about. Bring it to light.
There's always an upside to things coming down. It has to get down to a specific point, and it's got to go back up. And how quick does everything bounce back these days? Before that, it took years and years for things to bounce back. Now it's taking some places who have really strong economies and strong backbone, like Australia. Australia's got a good backbone. So if you are in Australia, well, aren't you one of the lucky ones? We're partially affected only by the things that's currently happening overseas. Andrew, are you okay?
I'm
He's not okay.
processing what he's saying. This is our catch up. This is our
This is
live
our
catch
catch
up.
up. And this is raw, unedited. There is nothing hiding any of this from anyone.
Only a lot of
Because
this stuff gets
what's
put
currently been
to
talked
the
about?
back.
Interest rates. Interest rates.
Recession.
Interest
Recession.
rates. Recession.
Which was talked about 2 or 3 years ago.
It's talked about every time something is about to happen to the economy, right? But that's like every other thing that's out there. I can see it in your face, Andrew. Bartender remembers. I read people well.
There you go.
So, but there's always an upswing. There's an upswing to a lot of things. And it seems a lot of people who will be affected are the ones that believe in the financial institutions. And I say that, the financial institutions, they make a lot of money, don't they? They make a lot of money because they hold our money. They make a lot of money because no matter what happens, they secured everything. Secured everything to the point that if you don't really own, if you got a mortgage, do you own your home?
Not
Andrew?
outright. Do I own
No,
it?
a lot of
Not
people say,
outright.
"Oh, I own my own place," but you got a mortgage, right? If you got a mortgage, you don't own your place. You do not own your place. The bank owns it until you pay that what is owed. That is what mortgage means. Real estate, it belongs to the king
Belongs to the
because it
king.
started from real. Real means king. The king's estate is being leased to you. The land is not owned by people. The land is owned by banks. Or who owns the banks? Are banks really supporting people? No. They're in it for the same thing, for gains. So, who do we really trust? It's like, oh,
What's going on in Adelaide? What's been happening?
What's going on in Adelaide?
He's been thinking, processing.
I've been processing what's happening around the world. I've been processing what is happening in people's minds. I've been observing. Me, everyone, give it to me, give it to me.
I want it.
I want it. And a lot of people will ignore a lot of the things that's been said here because they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear the truth. True fact. A lot of the things that happen out there, a lot of the people prefer that someone else runs it.
Mm.
And that's what happens.
The
It gets
hard work.
taken away from you. It gets taken away from people. It gets taken away from all of you out there, whoever's listening. And see you guys are out there.
Oh,
And see, a lot of you don't even engage because you're afraid. Everyone's afraid. What happens when you're afraid? You don't move.
retreat.
No, you don't move. You don't even retreat. You don't even thinking about retreating. You just stay there, stagnant.
I just
You paired the
realised.
channels. You haven't checked. I just
realised I was trying to do it quietly.
I'm not afraid. Well, maybe of you, Sandra, but nothing else. Don't be afraid
What are
of
you
me.
afraid? He's a
Don't be
softie.
afraid of me. I'm here to help everyone. I will help everyone if you allow me to. It's time to make the big
Okay.
change. The big change is going to happen to it. And if we give the power back to people, they'll screw it up. But if we give it to a majority of people who can vote, for the righteousness. What's right? What's wrong? Come help me. Take my children 2 weeks home. I'm going crazy. It's kind of different to all the TikToks.
Doing this one.
Doing these things. And really, the best times to do these is when everyone is either just coming to work. A lot of business owners will come in at 9 o'clock, 9:30, and want to be distracted. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of people productive out there. How do we remain productive?
Support team. Others that want to help.
Weekly wrap up anyway. Let's go back to it. We've missed out on speaking to Gary Martin yesterday. There was some technical issues, so we've rescheduled that. Did we reschedule that next week? But for real, Sandra, is right. Someone always owns this, whether it be bank or a government. It's always the person who has the money to. What if you had the money, Vic? What if the money is no longer an issue? What if we're able to grow our own food and it's not owned by Coles, Woolies? Because they own it. Really? You know what happens? The other thing that I've heard from all the things I've been researching how to get homelessness away. And there's so many things around it, so many legislations that stop you from allowing homeless people to have a home in farms because you're not allowed to. It's a legislation, it's a law. It's illegal to give shelter to people, to a lot of people who are not registered, because then how are taxes going to be taken away from these people? It's illegal.
It's
illegal to sell your food if you've got your own farm directly to anyone else, because that's the way they made it. Yeah, so do I.
Veggie garden, fruit garden.
I've had my lettuce that keeps them giving. It's this lettuce, just humongous
That
lettuce.
was being like, stop, start.
The size of Andrew's head.
It's pretty big on this camera.
And it just keeps growing, right? And I just keep taking one leaf at a time every single day, and it just grows. I don't know how it keeps growing. My head's quite big too.
So we have rescheduled. We have rescheduled Gary Martin for 10th of August. So we'll have him on then. On the 10th.
When do we have him?
10th of August.
10th of August.
We're going to have Muriel.
You too, Vic.
Muriel Oltink will be on next week. She was caught up with Nick. Caught up with Nick this week, I think it was.
I saw that, I think, yeah, for the 255th.
We'll see you later. What's that?
255th lunch.
255. So it'll be great to talk to her and her history in business and life and experience. So Muriel coming up on Thursday. What else?
That's it. That's my rant for the week. My observations of all the things happening in the world. The world is the same. The world is the same. It hasn't changed. Will it ever change? Not until you the people, stop being distracted.
We're going to turn this into something.
It's in the
Sandro
plans.
says.
Sandro says it's already in the plans. It's a matter of getting everything working and moving along. Grow your own food. So grow
you're not
your
allowed.
own food.
You can't do that.
You're allowed to have your own veggie garden, but you just can't share it with other people. And that's another funny thing. Sharing is very limited. But the community gardens are different.
Different in what way?
That's what we're missing. We're all allowed to be part of a community garden. And that's what we need. Community gardens. A peer-to-peer community garden all throughout Australia. Hey, we're going to grow them.
What happened to the current ones?
They're growing.
There's a few still around,
but not many people not many people have time to jump into them. The community garden at Edgeworth David in Hornsby it's going gangbusters. They grow everything. They grow bananas. They grow passion fruits. They grow all the lettuces. When everyone was in shortage of lettuce, they had lettuce. They had pumpkins. They had everything in that garden that you can eat. And if you are homeless and you join the garden, you can have as much food as you want. And you will never be hungry. There's Mark. Mark! Anyway.
Mark.
That is.
Well, there we go.
That's me. That's my rant. What else has happened this week? What else are people really talking about? Because I don't watch the news. I don't watch the news to know what's out there. What are the biggest things being put out that you hear?
How much time have we got?
How much time? Go for it.
Nah.
Time is all we have. How much time do you have until I die in this physical body? That's how much time I have. Then it'll be up to the rest of the world who steps up to the plate. There you go.
And that's all for this week.
That's all for this week.
Lincoln Local Northern Beaches next week, next Wednesday night. I'll mention
Wednesday nights becoming harder again. So we need to mention all the different events. We're now changing a few different things with the way we do things. We will have a local presence, a national presence, and a global presence, and a private invite-only presence. That's happening with what was in the list? What were the communities?
You want me to read them out?
Yeah, go for it.
Hang on, list. Where are we?
We have the core work. core work will always remain the local presence because that's
Core work
where
community, core network, core success network, so the private, the global, and LinkedIn local.
LinkedIn local, because it's into all the different LinkedIn locals at the same time. We'll start working with all the other locals and start working with them at a global scale because we've tapped into that. So we'll connect to more LinkedIn locals. Okay. Do you have anything on?
No, that's it. Got to.
What just happened? He's shell shocked.
This is what happens when you leave Sydney.
And have to think. Yep. Okay.
On my way.
Nothing else?
All right, that's it.
Have a good
That's
weekend.
Cheers.